Okay, so as you just seen, me and Ben have wrapped up day 2 at Basel. It's day 3 now for us, so what we've done, we've come by the river in Basel and we just sort of go through some of the runs we saw yesterday. I think we had some pretty good meetings, didn't we?
Yeah, and we saw quite a wide range of different watches and like different price points, accessibilities, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff from the likes of Sinn and Romain Gauthier, and you know, the independent brands I think had some nice offerings.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so one of our first meetings of the day was with Sinn, so we got to try on a lot of the new exciting releases as well as some of the old. I've never actually tried on any of their watches before, so it's a nice opportunity to look at the range and really see what they're all about. Have you ever tried on their watches?
No, that was the first time yesterday. Really good hands-on experience with them. They had pretty much the whole range there, and you know, really welcoming and you know, happy to answer our questions and stuff. So what about you? The first one you saw was
the EZ M3. So that's sort of diver's watch with the crown at 9. So it's, you know, a little bit reminiscent of the left-hand diver from Tudor, like the Pelagos. But I think this watch really surprised me actually, because it was one of the first I've tried on from Sinn, and I could really see what they're all about with the kind of like the German engineering,
yeah,
kind of cliche of extremely well-built, functional timepieces. Essentially, I really like the crown at 9. It gave it quite a different aesthetic, and the sizing was good.
Yeah, it was a nice size.
Was nice. The new AR technology. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but it really reduced haze between the glass and the dial, so it was really ultra clear and legible, and just overall a really nice watch.
I think for a tool watch, that's probably one of the best I've handled.
Yeah.
I think for a tool watch aesthetic as well, it's pure tool watch.
Yeah. It's just
like you said, the full brush,
raw, functional.
Case. Yeah.
Fully be blasted. Gives a really cool, just like urban look. It's quite nice.
Yeah, and it's got the I think it's got a splash of red on the dial as well, which is quite nice. It's
some little details that kind of throw it into vintage inspiration, but still being quite contemporary in execution.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a theme with Sinn, is their use of red on a lot of their dials.
Yeah, I think so. And
that was certainly a theme continued on this year with the new releases. So.
So what was the next one that you looked at?
So the next one I looked at was the 104. So it's not a new release. I think last year they released a white dial version of it, but the one I got to main hands-on time was with the black dial. Right. This is a really popular watch I've seen online. You see a lot of people, a lot of blogs talk about this model. I don't think I've ever actually seen it available online to buy. I think I've only ever seen it sold out, so I was quite looking forward to seeing it, kind of seeing what the hype was about.
One of their most popular models?
I think it is, one of their most popular. Maybe the 103 chronograph is similar as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a really nice aesthetic. So you've got like the syringe hands, which kind of are very reminiscent of the company's heritage.
Yeah, nice vintage throwback.
Yeah. Basically, so you've got the second track as well, which is quite long on the dial, so it kind of brings in the size a little bit, which means when it wears on the wrist, it doesn't actually seem that big. I think the case size is, I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's early 40s, so maybe 41, 42. But the use of those second track being a little bit longer, and the syringe hands as well, they do complement each other.
Yeah,
it just wears really nicely on the wrist.
Modern size and vintage wearability.
Yeah, it's got nice polished details as well. So I can understand now why it's such a popular model, and why it's sold out pretty much everywhere. So.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 103 chronograph, so I got to try on the new BE, I think it is, the new blue limited edition. So it has the blue anodized bezel and the navy blue details within the bezel and the insert.
Like a deep blue sunburst.
Yeah, the dial.
Yeah.
So, as I've never tried on the Sinn watches before, I never had a chance to try on the original one, but if the original one's anything like this new one, then they're both very good watches. I think this one really impressed me. I really like the styling of the case. For quite a simple chronograph, it's quite unique in aesthetic, and it still, has that vintage looks again, which is kind of what Sinn seems to be all about, but mixed with the German engineering of everything being really legible. It's easy to read, it's functional. Just overall, I think the sizing's quite good. It's not as small as necessarily I'd go for watches, but considering what their brand is about, I think it's right in tune with their ethos and their aims. So.
I think the blue dial was probably one of my favourite parts. I think it had like really dark blue subdials, which complemented the slightly lighter dial.
I think the old radium lume, which is like the kind of beige tan coloured faux patina lume. I know lots of people don't like it, but I think it worked quite well with the navy to just it's quite understated. Where if it was white lume against the navy, it would probably be quite a harsh contrast.
Yeah, it would be.
This helped it to,
it kind of just softened the dial a little bit.
Soften it up, and it made it a bit more warm as well. It was nice.
Yeah, I think that's one that if it was strapped on your wrist, I think you'd get compliments from everyone, whether it be watch enthusiasts or anyone down the street. It's a really cool release, I thought.
Yeah. What was the next one you looked at?
So the next one I looked at was the 910 SR flyback.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a white cream dial. Obviously flyback chronograph, of course. It's got a lot, again, a theme with Sinn is their red details on the dial.
Yeah.
So this one was really cool because it basically had, the logo was in black and all the indices were in black as well, which normally you would think, okay, a white dial with like black details is quite a harsh look. But I think it just worked. I think the layout of the subdials as well really helped. It was a really nice balanced chronograph. A little bit bigger. I think it was, I'm not sure the size is, again, 40s, we'll have to check that.
42, 43 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we tried it on with a leather strap as well, didn't we? I think it was black with red details. I have seen it on a metal strap as well, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that was the one that I think that surprised me the most.
Yeah.
It just wears really nicely.
Yeah, and the cream colour is executed really, really well.
Yeah.
And then with the chapter rings being in, I think it was almost verging on a silver colour, and all just blended together with the black and the red, and again, just looks incredibly vintage. But due to the sizing and the actual styling of it, it was still very contemporary. It was like vintage, but not actually looking like a vintage watch. It was just nice. You could tell the inspiration, and you can tell their history. You can tell really what the brand's about just by looking at the watch, which I think is quite strong, and it's a good design to have.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think Sinn have had a really good year this year.
Really good.
I've seen a lot of people talk online about a lot of their releases being like sleepers, and people haven't really picked up on them. But from our experience, really positive. I think they're really great.
Yeah, I think they'll do really well, and if anyone has a chance to try them on, we would definitely recommend.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so next up we were headed to the independent side of the show, and then went to, I think, one of your favourite brands, one of the ones you look forward to the most, was Romain Gauthier.
Yeah, that was really good. I instantly gravitated towards that booth because I'm a really big fan of their watches. So got talking to Stephen, who he was really knowledgeable and really friendly and kind. He let us in, let us see quite a lot of their watches, which I was quite surprised considering their watches start at like £60,000 and upwards, maybe a bit less. But there are some serious examples of like the absolute limits of high-end watchmaking. So the first one that I had a look at was their new release, which is the Insight Micro Rotor in natural titanium. So I think it's the first time they've done the Insight Micro Rotor in titanium. They released it this year in the natural titanium, which is the lighter titanium look. It looks quite a lot like stainless steel. I didn't even realise it was titanium until you said.
No.
And then there's also, I think, the black titanium version, which is black titanium with like a matte grey dial and a black rubber strap, which we saw it on. So that was quite a sporty look, as opposed to the natural titanium, which had a blue enamel dial. Yeah. So as soon as I saw that watch, I was just incredibly impressed. The blue enamel looked really, really stunning and provided a really nice contrast to the rest of the dial. So if you're not familiar with the watch, it's largely the looks are largely based around the caliber. So you can see the micro rotor through the dial and the case back. It's a really thick micro rotor, which you can do from both sides. And you've got the balance spring underneath the dial, and it just provides a really cool, like avant-garde, slightly high-end watchmaking look. It's quite hard to explain.
I think that's the thing.
Quite unique.
It was a thick rotor, wasn't it? You say it's a thick micro rotor, but it didn't wear that thick on the wrist at all. I think the way the case was designed, it kind of hid a lot of that height really well.
It's such a modern watch. It's something so incredibly different and like anti-traditional. It was actually really classic in appearance, and it wore exceedingly well. I think the design was really good. Like we saw the rose gold ones on the like brown leather straps,
that was really
and they looked really classy, like a serious dress watch. And then there's the black titanium version on the black rubber strap, and it's essentially the same watch but with a few different materials change, and that's your everyday sports watch.
For a watch that looks like that, to be called a sports watch is pretty crazy. But once it's on the wrist, you can understand what they mean. But it could be like your everyday, your casual watch.
Yeah.
And as Stephen was saying as well, it's not in your face. I think in that black titanium as well, it's not like, oh wow, look at that watch. It can be really subtle.
The definition of a sleeper, really. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, if you don't know the brand and you first saw that watch, you probably wouldn't, or you saw it from a distance, you probably wouldn't realise what it is. You would definitely not think that it was, you know, a watch that's 60 to above £1,000. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just really cool to see that, and the finishing was just impeccable. It was really, really good, and Stephen was kind enough to explain some of the finishings to us, like the snailing on the micro rotor, some of the Coste de Genève on the back of the movement, and, you know, and just the amount of work and time that goes into finishing the movement. You can really tell their passion and their commitment to creating what they see as like the perfect watch, or you know.
I think I was just most surprised by the rose gold version of that inside micro rotor. I'm mainly more of like a stainless steel sort of colour person when it comes to watches, but that rose gold one was just amazing. I think I was wearing it as like, you know, it was an everyday watch or something. A little bit in your face, but it just looked so good on the wrist.
Yeah, the colours just really complemented, like the white enamel dial with the rose gold case. When you think white enamel dial, rose gold case, you might think, you know, of a Breguet or something, you know, exceedingly classical, but just the mixture of the avant-garde and the old, it was really good. Yeah.
Okay, so me and Ben could probably sit here all day and talk about these watches. So what we will be doing is we have information coming to the website soon, maybe in the coming days and the coming weeks, with a few more articles and stuff. So keep an eye on our social media for more news on that.
Yep.
But to round up for today, we should probably talk about the logical one.
Yep. So I think this is one of the most interesting watches from a watchmaking standpoint, being that it makes use of a Fusian chain system, which is quite a traditional way of winding a watch, which was found in some like early pocket watches and stuff, but it's quite a new approach to it. So it makes use of a flat chain as opposed to a coiled chain. So every time you push in the button, which is essentially the crown for winding, it makes the chain go forward by one link, which in turn winds the barrel and gives the watch its energy. So that was quite a cool watch to see, and
it was really cool. Yeah. It was really cool to see in person.
A really interesting design, very unique, and I think he said that it was maybe the first watch that had ever had this system incorporated into it. And what's nice is that due to their quite unique asymmetrical dial layouts, you actually get to see that through the dial. So every time you're winding your watch, you get to see the chain move and the mainspring wind. So it's pretty nice.
I mean, you sort of see these watches a lot online, you know, horology ones, and I've always found it quite difficult to understand them, but I think seeing them in person, you realise how just incredible they are, and the passion behind the brand, and the quality of products they make are potentially 10 times better than, you know, the retailers and the main ones you hear of. So yeah, I think that was probably one of the best meetings of the show for us.
Yeah, definitely.
It was really interesting. And as we said, Stephen was really nice. He answered all of our questions. He showed a really interest in what we were doing as well. So I think overall, really, really
nice
interesting
insight into like really groundbreaking watches that are made, you know, for the passion of horology rather than just to make money. Obviously they are expensive, but they're mainly expensive because, you know, it's the first time a watch like that has been made. The level of perfection that's needed to, you know, adhere to their standards obviously would take a lot of money to develop. So
you certainly get that feeling that they're not making the watches to make money. It's just because they love it, which is
they want to
the right reason.
You know, the next wave of really breaking products. Okay, and the last watches we will be talking about today were the new exciting releases from Tudor. So I know that you paid some interest into the new GMT, maybe had some thoughts?
Okay, so obviously, as we know, Rolex released the GMT Master in stainless steel on the Jubilee, which received a lot of press and a lot of people talking about it. So I think it caught a lot of us off guard when we saw that Tudor released the GMT with a Pepsi bezel. I think it looked really nice. I think the bezel had kind of like a vintage look to it as well. But I think it just was a bit of a confusing release for me. I think Tudor for the past, you know, however many years have been working on becoming their own brand and getting away from Rolex, and then they release a GMT and a Pepsi GMT watch the same time that Rolex do. I mean, for the price compared to the GMT, and I'm sure the availability of the Tudor will be a lot better, it just seemed a bit of a confusing release to me.
Yeah.
There was obviously the date window at 3 o'clock, which I normally like date windows. I wasn't sure on this. I think without the Cyclops, it just looked a bit odd. Obviously the GMT hand as well had a snowflake on, which when you realise it's got 3 snowflake hands on the dial, it does contrast it quite a bit, and looks it's an interesting look, and it's still quite a large size as well. It's a pretty thick watch. But like I said, I do like the bezel. I think I like the look of the bezel. It'd be interesting to see it in a bit more detail going forward. But
yeah, I think as far as if they were released at different times, they really satisfy what they're trying to achieve. So like the Tudor one, if you compare it to maybe other GMTs around those price points, I think it's a really good release, and it will satisfy a market that maybe if you can't afford a Rolex, maybe you could go for that, and it kind of gives a similar look. Or if you like vintage watches, etc. But the fact that the GMT Master 2 has come out, it probably verges on the fact that they're going to create these long wait times for the GMT Master 2, and in the meantime you can also buy the Tudor. So
okay, so overall I think a really interesting release for Tudor. I think as a brand it's a bit of a confusing one, but I think for consumers at that price point it is a strong offering. And as you said, if you can't quite afford a Rolex yet, and you did really like the Rolex GMT Master in stainless steel, it's a really good option to have Tudor there. So we should probably move on to the Black Bay now. I think it's one that, well, we kind of predicted before it was released. So I think we were both really excited when it came out. So I thought you had a few words on it.
I think so. The new Black Bay 58, which is the Black Bay in the 39mm size, was a very welcome release, especially for me. So I really liked the old Black Bay offerings of the 41mm size, but I always felt that the thickness was a really off-putting thing for me. So to see it in the smaller size with the new caliber, and seeing it in person, it is a lot more thin. So it's maybe closer to the 5 series reference Rolex Submariners, like the one you're wearing, in thickness. So around that 12mm range.
It is 11. I think it's 11 or 12mm, which was perfect.
Makes it a lot more wearable, like really good for every day. For the price, almost destroys all of the competition in terms of looks. I think it was a really good release. I'm not 100% sure on the gilt style bezel. I'd like to see some other bezel options, but as far as a release goes, I really think they knocked it out of the park with that one.
I think that was a part of the watch that you and me both picked up on, and seeing it in person as well. It's tricky. I think it's hard to not purchase a watch just because of something like that, and I think it's something you could probably grow to kind of accept. The strap as well actually has obviously got the rivets on as well, which I think was really cool. Obviously it's a bit of a trademark for Tudor now.
I think that strap's tapering more, so from the pictures I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like it was tapering by 4mm as opposed to 2mm like the thicker Black Bays do. So it just helps that vintage sizing, and I think that the overall look will look a bit more stylish.
And also that smaller lug width as well, which in the Black Bay, the older Black Bays, they're 22mm,
it's quite big,
which was a bit big, but obviously this one I think it is 20mm now, and
it just refined.
The proportions, it works a lot better. So an exciting release. I think we'd like to cover this a lot more on the blog going forward. So okay, so that rounds up our day 2 here at Basel. I think we saw some really great watches today. We also got to see a few more watches we haven't talked about yet. So what we're doing is we're leaving those exclusively for the blog and for the website going forward. So if you just keep an eye on our social media, we'll keep you updated with those. So.
But overall it's been a really great time, and we hope you enjoyed this content. So we try to involve you more, give you a bit more of the personal experience of what it's like to attend the show.
So. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.